Hi friends! Welcome back to Dzja Draws. So today is bringing you two drawings. One essentially inspired by each of my children. So two drawings with two associated stories. The first one has to do with my son. Now, my son, who is all of 13 years old and as assured as only a 13-year-old can be that his level of technology is the only level of technology that has ever existed in the world, thinks I'm a noob. That's right, the boy actually called me a noob. And what I said back to him was, "Boy, I was raiding Karazhan when you were but a twinkle in my eye." Now, I mean, depending on who you are and what level of technology you're at, that may mean nothing to you, but let me assure you, I was raiding Karazhan when my son was nothing but a twinkle in my eye. I was a hardcore WoW raider for a good portion of my early adulthood. And what actually ended up killing it was the birth of my son. We used to call him the destroyer of raids because, you know, we'd get in the middle of a boss fight and then he'd wake up and I'd have to go deal with my child, and all of a sudden there we'd be without our main mage, and it was problematic. So anyway, I decided to go ahead and draw myself, not as mage, but more as who I see myself today, aka Dzja Jenkins. Now, for those of you who were not giant WoW nerds like me, there's an in-joke in the WoW community having to do with a wiped raid and a man named Leroy Jenkins. Yeah, that didn't end well. But at least you got some chicken. So, yeah. Anyway, this is a little avatar of me, Dzja Jenkins, gleefully surging into the fight, possibly to wipe her entire raid, but definitely, absolutely, positively not a noob. Quick update that is unrelated to Storytime with Jessica. I recently got 2 new sets of Ohuhu brush markers, and I'm really excited about it. I had the 48 set pack of brush markers. 48 set pack. Yeah, that was English. Okay, great. Now I have purchased the skin tones, which I'm really pleased with. And I've also gone ahead and gotten the 72 pack because enough of my 48s were running low that I really felt like I needed to. I'm super excited about it, but I also really want the pastel set, but they're currently out of stock. So, yeah, we're just working with what we got. You know, there really is no gaming pain quite like the all-party wipe, where there's no soulstone up and you have got 10 to 40 people who all have to walk back from the nearest graveyard. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then clearly, you know, you and I are different kinds of nerds, but we can still have solidarity on this. It's fine. That being said, there are very few triumphs in the gaming world, like having some random dumbass you invited to your party accidentally pull the entire dungeon and somehow surviving it. I mean, that is a moment of glory unlike any other, and probably also a sign that you're way OP for that dungeon. But that's irrelevant. It's still a triumph. Those suckers are designed to kill you. Anyway, Dzja Jenkins is probably a fairly strong representation of an aspect of my personality. Like, this is definitely me in real life to a certain extent. I have a tendency to run face first into difficult situations, regardless of the predicted outcome. So far, I haven't accidentally wiped my party or killed myself. So I guess I'm more on the glorious triumph end of things than the abject failure end. But, you know, tomorrow's always another day. You never know. I could pull the whole dungeon and wipe everybody any day now. So, here she is. Dzja Jenkins. She definitely has some chicken. And some joy. And she is most likely just gonna accidentally kill everyone. But, you know, it'll be a good time anyway. Now, this one came about because of a conversation that I had with my daughter. She has discovered the delight that is Paper Mario. She's playing the new one on the Switch, which I don't remember what that's called because I'm not a modern gaming kid. But I played Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door on the GameCube ages ago, and I adored it. I love Paper Mario. It was fantastic. I'm kind of jealous that my daughter's playing it on the Switch, but I don't really seem to have the time for it. So anyway, I was talking to her about it one day, and we were discussing the fact that once you get the hammer, you just sort of walk around smashing everything. And that just seems so appropriate, not only for me, but also particularly for my daughter. So this here is an avatar for her. Her as Mario, just smashing everything. I think it's probably worth mentioning that my daughter is very much a mini-me. She's definitely a full dungeon puller. Let's put it like that. The fact that in Paper Mario, her life choice is to run around just smashing everything with a hammer, not surprising. It is how she chooses to interact with the world, and I suspect someday when, you know, she's older and has to put her foot down about things, it will serve her well. Right now, it drives me a little bit crazy, but also simultaneously delights me, so really, I don't have any complaints. I just have to adjust my expectations sometimes when I ask her, pretty please, couldn't she maybe, I don't know, stop leaving peanut butter everywhere? You know what's funny is that as iconic as Mario is, so like everybody knows what Mario looks like, right? I did more referencing for this image than for any that I've done in a really long time. Like, I had to look up what the hammer precisely looked like and what color his shoes were and what the bad guy mushrooms looked like, and then I had to look up a mushroom that was shaped like it. And I looked up the background mountains, like I looked up the landscape in the side-scroller Mario games. Like, I don't know. I just did a whole bunch of referencing for this, which is not the normal thing that I do. Like, sometimes I'll reference poses or animals if I have to draw animals, because I frequently can picture them until I start to think about how their actual muscles and skeletal structure go, and then I get real confused. But like for humans, I'm much more likely to get in the pose myself before I look it up, because being in the pose myself, I can sort of see what would be closer and farther away and all of that. But for Mario, it was so iconic, I really felt like I had to get it right, like the colors and all that other stuff. But I couldn't precisely put my finger on what it was supposed to look like. It's weird when you hit something that culturally everyone knows what it looks like, but then you can't actually draw it or pick out the color without looking at the reference. If I'd picked these colors out blind, I would have gotten them wrong. You know, one of the things that's really interesting to me is that I used to hate shading. This was before I really started working on practicing my art. I hated shading because I felt like I always got it wrong and everything always looked worse afterwards. And I guess one of the things that I can definitively say now that I've been pretty consistently practicing my art for the past couple years is that shading has become one of my favorite things to do, to the point where, as you can see from both of these two drawings, I will go through, and unless it's like the skin tone where I feel like I need to blend it really well, I will do all the flat colors first and then work on the shading, because as it brings the drawing together, it just really gives me a lot of joy. And there's so much I still have to work on it. I'm definitely not a champion at it or anything, but it's kind of a delight to me that highlights and shading, which used to be basically my Waterloo, are now something that I just really enjoy. So here's Super Mario Kid. I hope you enjoy her smashing everything with her hammer. And I hope you also enjoyed Dzja Jenkins. And I'll see you guys later. Bye! If you like my art, or the art of any artist here on YouTube, please consider liking and subscribing. It really does help. Thanks!